Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. I'm trying to hit 9,000 subscribers by July, so all support is greatly appreciated. Be sure to leave a like as well, it goes a long way and means a lot. The Boston Celtics have been a premier team in the NBA this past season, being a consistently great team, and they have shaped up to be a legit title contender. Though towards the end of the season, the Celtics were slowing down a bit, going 5-5 in their last 10 games. I think this extended break will give them a chance to regroup and come out of the gates blazing, and I think they have a good chance to go to the finals and win the East in my opinion. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at the Celtics season so far, the players that have heavily contributed to their success, and why I believe this team is a legitimate chance to win the East. Again, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. But with that all being said, let's talk about the Boston Celtics. The Celtics were, as I mentioned, consistently a top team this season. They never really fell below 4th or 5th, and were even reaching the 1st and 2nd seed at the start of the year. That was until the Bucks took off. As the season was suspended, the Celtics became the 4th team to clinch a playoff spot and had a record of 43-21, which was good enough for the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference, 2.5 games clear of the 4th seed Heat. It's clear this team has been a top 1 all year, but how have they done so well? What players have stepped up to the plate and played so well that it's allowed them to be in the position they're in? The first player is Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum broke out this season with averages of 23.6 points per game, 7.1 rebounds and 3 assists, and shooting splits of 45% from the field and a phenomenal 40% from 3, and due to this, made his first ever All-Star appearance. Tatum proved a lot of people wrong this year, as before the season started, many were unsure of who would take the first option role on the Celtics. Many assumed Kemba, which was a fair judgment, but when people were saying that Kemba and Jalen Brown both deserved Tatum's spot over him, that's when I found the disrespect to Tatum a bit ridiculous. Tatum has made leaps and bounds in improving his game this season. His overall shot selection is better, he's more efficient and confident with his shot, and it's reflected in his stats, as he's averaging over 8 more points per game than last season, with another rebound and assist or 2. So I think it's clear that All-Star spot was deserved. Focusing on his impact on the Celtics now, it should be obvious the major impact Tatum has had on the Celtics' success. His breakout year and improved game has made them a much harder team to defend overall, and he has numerous clutch moments this season. Again, Tatum has been unreal this year, and due to it is now an All-Star, an underrated most improved player candidate, and a big reason why the Celtics have been so good this year. Another player that broke out in Boston this season is Jalen Brown. Brown averaged 20.4 points per game this season to go along with 6.4 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and insane shooting efficiency from the field, 49%, and an elite 38% from 3. Due to this phenomenal year, many believed he was worthy of an All-Star selection, especially over guys like Domantas Sabonis, but Brown just fell short of the mark. However, it's undeniable that Brown has been playing on a star level this season, and deserves a lot of credit and respect for how well the Celtics have done this season. To me, I think he's a bit underappreciated and deserves a lot more credit than what he received for the Celtics' great season up until the suspension, as he's quietly become the league's most efficient 20-point scorer, and he's done that with the least amount of possessions for a player, averaging over 20 points a game. If you want a more in-depth analysis of Jaylen Brown's phenomenal season this year, be sure to check out the video I made on him recently, but without spoiling too much, Jaylen Brown has simply become one of the league's most efficient scorers and a perfect complementary piece for the Celtics. At age 23, Jaylen Brown is going to be a big part of the Celtics' success now and in the future, and it's why many view the Celtics as a team with one of the brightest futures in the entire NBA. Kemba Walker is another player who has been exceptional this year. Whilst Kemba did statistically regress this year, averaging 21-5 for the season, this was completely fine as it allowed Jayson Tatum to emerge as an all-star player and Jalen Brown began to flourish. Walker's main role on Boston was to be a leader, and in my opinion, he's nailed his role perfectly. He's still an elite level point guard, and though his role has slowly diminished as the season went on, it's been completely fine as he seems okay with it and the Celtics have been winning. In my opinion, Kemba's unselfish attitude has allowed the Celtics to take the third seed in the East and has given Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown an opportunity to develop and thrive. Whilst his on-court impact is pretty standard, Kemba's leadership and unselfish play has largely benefited the Celtics, something Kyrie failed to do a couple seasons ago. The stats don't show the full picture, but Kemba has been a huge reason for as to why the Celtics have succeeded so much this past season. Another player that has been quite impactful to the Celtics' success, but more so in an off-court role, is Gordon Hayward. Whilst Hayward has unfortunately failed to return to an all-star level after his devastating injury, he still played quite decently, averaging 17 points per game this season, as well as 6.5 rebounds and just over 4 assists. However, Hayward's biggest impact, in my opinion, on the Celtics' success was made via his leadership. Like Kemba, I doubt the Celtics would be in the position they are in without Hayward's leadership, and I also guarantee he's a reason why both Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum broke out this season. Overall, Hayward's been a solid contributor for the Celtics this year, and he's made a bigger impact than I think it seems at first glance. Marcus Smart is another player who's made a big impact on Boston, but it's mainly come from the defensive side of the floor. Smart is the energy guy for Boston and makes big hustle plays on defense, but this doesn't affect his overall effectiveness on this end. Smart is one of the premier guard defenders in the league, averaging 1.6 steals per game, and he's in the top 10 for deflections per game with 3.2, which I think proves his elite defensive capability. Overall, Smart's defense makes him a vital piece to the Celtics organization, and I highly doubt they'd be in their current position without him. So those are the players I believe are making the most impact for the Celtics this season. There's obviously more, like role players like Tyson that, but those are the main 5 I feel like make the most impact in my opinion. Now, compared to other teams in the NBA, who are the Celtics better than? In my opinion, I think the Celtics are better or even with most contending teams, excluding the Bucks, Lakers, and Clippers. I think a 7-game series between the Raptors and Celtics would be very entertaining and interesting. I think they'd probably beat a team like Miami in around 6 games, and anyone below them I think would be an easy win for them in the East. In the West, on the other hand, teams like the Rockets and Nuggets would make interesting matchups and the series would be close, but I don't think it matters as it's highly unlikely those teams will play each other come playoff time. So, with that all being said, after looking at all the players who contribute to the success of the Celtics, after looking at Boston's season so far, and after looking at the teams I think they are better than, how far can the Celtics go? In my opinion, I think the Celtics have a good chance of making the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that is their likely ceiling in the playoffs, and their floor is probably the second round. However, if things do go their way, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this team somehow makes an appearance in the NBA Finals this year. This group has experience, players like Tatum are hungry, so I wouldn't count them out. Whilst I think it's a bit unlikely, I would not rule it out at all and truly believe this team could go all the way whenever the NBA restarts. Overall, these are my thoughts on the Boston Celtics. The Celtics have been a top team in the East all year long, and thanks to players like Jayson Tatum, Jalen Brown, Kemba Walker, and Marcus Smart, and due to their elite play, leadership, and team chemistry, Boston is now a real shot at the title this year. Do I think they'll go all the way? Being realistic, probably not. But I think at the very minimum, this is a second round team that can go as far as the Eastern Conference Finals, perhaps the NBA Finals too, if things go their way. To put it simply, don't count out the Boston Celtics. They have a range of offensive weapons they can pull out to destroy a defense, and with young players like Tatum evolving into superstars, I would not be surprised at all if this team wins the Battle of the East this season. And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? How good are the Boston Celtics to you? How far will they go in the playoffs in your opinion? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.